Hello. Today I'll be showing the process of this drawing while talking about pushing yourself too much and overworking myself. If you don't know who I am, hi, I am Nika Shador and I am a traditional artist. So, I have officially graduated college. Woohoo! I am currently unemployed, so I have a lot of free time on my hands at my family home. Since I'm around family, I feel a bigger urge to do things to not be seen as lazy, or I try to emphasize the things I do around the house. I am the oldest between my siblings, and I am the oldest grandchild on my mom's side. That means there was greater expectation for me to work and do stuff around the house. Other kids could say no, but my excuses weren't enough if I said no. If I didn't do as much, I was lazy and spoiled. If other kids didn't do as much, well, it was just expected. So the expectations of the adults around me really got to my head. Plus, I never saw a balance of resting. Everyone was overworked or overworking themselves. So I put those same expectations on myself. Not to mention, I was a huge people pleaser. I still am a people pleaser, but I guess you can say, trying to decrease that. Disclaimer, I don't think it's wrong to expect children to help around the house. I also understand that the adults around me had no choice to overwork themselves or grew up overworking themselves. I'm just speaking of the cycle that I have realized I have found myself in. In my head, if I'm lazy, people won't like me and will gossip about me. If I do a lot, they will respect me and encourage me to rest or to take time for myself. A form of validation that I thought I needed. As a result, I had to work harder than everyone else. If I rested, I had to be doing something productive that will benefit me in the long run. These days, I have made myself draw when I don't really feel motivated to do such. So I can say I did something. Even now, I'm creating this YouTube video when I'm not highly motivated. I've been working nonstop since I was a senior in high school, so over 5 years, wanting a long break to just relax, to be a kid, just to have fun. However, I still don't believe I have earned that time. I also won't let myself believe I have earned it due to a lack of results. If I have truly worked hard, then my small business should be skyrocketing. I should have more subscribers. I should have more money in my accounts. I should have way more big wins to talk about. Plus, I guess in my mind, if I'm not extremely exhausted, then clearly I haven't worked enough, which I recognize is not a good mindset to have. It's okay to work hard. It's understandable that you may have no choice but to work nonstop. But it is also okay to rest. It's okay to be lazy sometimes. Also, resting sometimes or being quote unquote lazy does not make you a lazy person. Also, I know I'm using the word lazy, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to dislike using the word lazy as a way to describe myself, even in a joking way. But I know I will get over it eventually with therapy, lol. This is not me saying you can't say lazy as a joke. I'm just saying I don't like it when people jokingly refer to me as lazy. I also recognize this is something I need to get over with my feelings with the word lazy. It's just a word. Anyways, you can have expectations or standards for yourself. However, be careful not to allow these things to cause you extreme stress and anxiety. Hypocritical. Trust me, I know. But I am making this video for myself to realize how ridiculous and hypocritical I sound. This topic also reminds me how I wasn't allowed to say I was tired as a kid. The words "I'm tired" or a yarn. The words "I'm tired" or a yawn would just sound the alarm in the brains of the adults around me. Like I couldn't be tired because I didn't have a job or I didn't do much. Like, okay, let me just stop my body from yawning and wipe the need from sleep from my eyes. That also aided into mindsets that I needed to let go of. Even though many adults made those comments, I understand it's my responsibility to recognize cycles and get therapy to break them. Therapy is expensive, however, so I'm trying to make small steps to break them. During these past 2 semesters of college, I had at least 3 events to go to 5 days a week. Not to mention the homework, the art, and the social media content I created. It got to the point that I was having an emotional meltdown every week, even with my medication and therapy. I had no choice but to say no more often to events because the not wanting to be perceived as lazy mindset wasn't helping me at all. Not to mention, doing all the things I felt I had to do didn't always give me the validation that I wanted. Like, I wanted people to say they appreciated my hard work, that I did enough, and that I deserved a break. However, I rarely got that. Overworking yourself and pushing yourself to exhaustion will not always produce the results you want. I know this fact. I've probably said similar things to my friends before. However, I realize I don't believe it. I still believe in the whole go to school to get a job, work hard, and the rest will follow, which doesn't always work, if ever. Jaden Animations already made a great video on a similar topic 6 years ago, and I highly recommend you watch her video. I'll try to link the video in the description. She uses more examples and gives some really helpful insight. She mentions how if a friend put themselves in a situation of exhausting themselves, obviously you will warn them against that behavior. She also talks about how overworking yourself is glorified and can lead to who has it worse Olympics. I know that video was made 6 years ago, but if you haven't watched it, I recommend you do so. Another thing that she mentioned that hit home for me is feeling like you need to work when you should be sleeping. Speaking of, my sleep schedule is absolutely terrible. Like, I'm talking going to bed at 4 a.m. bad. Waking up at 9, going back to sleep, and waking up in the afternoon, like 2 o'clock bad. Anyways, Jaden Animations mentioned feeling like you need to work when you should be sleeping. I stay up late due to anxiety. Like, I spend those late hours contemplating creating some content or creating this masterpiece in my sketchbook. I think to myself, I should be creating drawing lists. I should be applying for jobs. I have a really bad habit of applying for jobs on LinkedIn at 2 or 3 a.m. Like, I'm losing sleep over the fact that I don't think I'm doing enough. I'm losing sleep over this need for people to say I'm doing enough. I'm losing sleep so I can get the validation and rest I think I deserve, which is a weird and toxic trait of mine. I can't count the amount of panic attacks or the times I've almost fainted due to this fact. Recently, I had an older adult who wasn't family tell me to have fun and not just be work all the time. And I ignored that fact. Like, I got the validation I wanted and still didn't think I had to change. So now I'm like, when does it end for me? Like, am I going to work myself into the hospital for me to say, oh yeah, I have done enough now? If multiple people are saying it now, isn't it time to stop? But I can't, because I'm in too deep and it has to mean something now. Also, is weird because, like, how can my parents tell me to rest when all they have told me and taught me my entire life is work? But again, it's up to me to break that cycle. It is ultimately up to me to validate myself, which can be frustrating at times. Like, why is it up to me to break the cycle when I didn't create it? But that's life. But I can't blame everyone else my whole life for overworking myself when I know the consequences of doing so. When I told myself I didn't want to grow up to be like everyone else, overworking, never getting a break, working till you're 65, and now you're left with the consequences and the stress and the health problems. But I know that life happens, and I know that sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do. But I don't want every day to be filled with the cycle of killing myself over work I'm not getting paid for. Plus, overworking yourself can lead to burnout. And I don't want to be exhausted to the point I don't want to go anywhere or hang out with friends ever. I don't want to feel numb and dead, which may lead to changing my medications again when it's really an emotional issue. With overworking myself, I have noticed I have become more irritable and frustrated with everyone else when that isn't fair. Life is already difficult as it is, and I don't need to make it harder for everyone else by taking my issues out on people. Now that I am out of college, I am glad I no longer have to play the game of catch up that I started. For example, I would have 8 assignments due on Monday. At least 3 or 4 of them were writing assignments. So I would do my best to try to complete them on weekends. But if I didn't, I would try to complete them on Monday night. And on Mondays, I would have class in the morning, Bible study, sometimes therapy, or sometimes another meeting. Not to mention art I tried to do on that same day. And now I just have to remember I don't have to continue playing the game of catch up when it comes to my life and my personal goals. I also have to remember to not let social media warp my view of work or how my life should be. Like, social media promotes working all day, working until at least 10 p.m. and still waking up at 4 to 5 a.m. to work some more. Speaking of, don't forget that most of those videos are or can be rage baity and are designed to get a lot of engagement. Anyway, social media promotes working until you're rich or working until you have a small business and 3 side hustles. I mean, even LinkedIn sometimes promotes coming in on your days off and working more than what is required. This is not me advocating for not working at all, because I understand that is just not possible. But I want to work to an extent. Like, I want to work at my art and helping others in my community. I am advocating for finding a balance for you and I. This is me saying, if you want to work overtime at 2 jobs, you shouldn't be calling yourself lazy, and you shouldn't feel pressure to do more. Save the rest of your energy for yourself if you can. Additionally, there is another great video on this topic posted by the Calmly Coping channel. The Calmly Coping channel is hosted by a licensed therapist named Tati Garcia. In this video, she shares 4 tips on how to stop overworking yourself. If you also struggle with anxiety and overworking yourself, please watch that video, and I'll also link it in the description. 2 tips she mentioned are to challenge your beliefs and increase your self-worth. And I realize I have tied my self-worth to work and projects I have accomplished. Ever since I was a kid, I only thought I was good at getting good grades and doing things people needed me to do. So now that I'm not working, I feel useless and I don't see myself as highly as I did before. By tying your self-worth to your work, there will never be enough late nights. There will never be enough finished projects. And your mistakes or setups will feel like major failures in the end. I realize I need to repeat the same affirmations I give to my friends to increase my self-worth. I need to repeat these affirmations to break old habits. It's hard to break old habits or beliefs if you are only combating them once every blue moon. Now, of course, there will be times you have to pull an all-nighter. There will be times you need to push yourself. But again, pushing yourself to the brink all the time can cause more harm than good. For example, yes, you do have to push yourself when it comes to exercise. However, not allowing yourself to have a lot of recovery time can lead to muscle pain, fatigue, and even tissue damage. If that can happen with your physical health, imagine what that can do to your mental health. Also, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but resting doesn't necessarily mean sleeping. Rest can look like reading a book or just doing something you enjoy. Rest can look different for you as long as you're taking time away from your work. Stop putting yourself through unnecessary amounts of trauma. Life is too short for that. Take advantage of your free time to recharge yourself. To my artists, drawing every day when you don't feel like it is overworking yourself. This can lead to burnout and quitting art for a long time. This can even lead to hating art. To my artists, don't let social media fool you into thinking you have to create every day. I have posted quote unquote new drawings that were actually drawings I made months or even years ago. New posts don't necessarily mean new drawings. One thing I forgot to mention is I think I overwork myself to prove to people that, hey, Gen Z does want to work and that I'm not like everyone else. However, people will believe what they want no matter what you show them. Plus, it's not up to me to show that I'm one of the good ones. And if people want to think badly of Gen Z, they're going to think badly of Gen Z. It's not up to me to fulfill everyone's expectations or it's not up to me to, how do I want to say, destroy any misconceptions they have about my generation, my race, or my gender. Plus, it's not like everyone of the older generation will see my hard work anyway. This is not me saying no one from an older generation will see my hard work. This is me saying it's not like every single person for generations before me. It's not like they will all see my hard work. And I need to stop caring what they think. If you haven't gotten anything from this non-stop rambling video, please don't overwork yourself for the smallest chance to be seen as good enough or not like the others by other people. Trust me, doing so will make you resentful, frustrated, and overall just very sad. Now, this is not me saying not to do stuff for other people, especially people you care about. I'm just repeating the whole don't put yourself in a hospital for people when you don't need to. And trust me, if nothing else motivates you, don't overwork yourself to be in the hospital when you know you can't pay the hospital bill, or that's more money out the pocket. Now, mind you, I am 22 years old. I still have a lot of life to go through. These are just my opinions and my experiences. I can be wrong, I do make mistakes, and there is always nuance. I am not a therapist or a psychologist. If you relate to anything I have talked about, please seek out therapy. But like a quote I found on Pinterest says, don't overwork yourself into an early grave. Again, if nothing motivates you to not overwork yourself, just ask, am I getting paid for this? Some reflection questions to end off with. Do I have time to care for myself and my mental health? Is it absolutely necessary for me to complete all this work in one day, or can some work be put off till tomorrow or another day? Have I become more anxious lately? Have I had more panic attacks lately? How is my overall mental health since I've been taking on this work? Am I completing this work because my work is tied to my self-worth? And is it absolutely necessary I do all this work, or can I delegate duties to other people around me? And these are some reflection questions that I myself need to answer and think upon and remind myself on the daily. Just a reminder, I know that these are things I need to work on and I need to speak to myself. So just remember, you are not alone if you are going through something. I hope I have said something that was able to help you recognize any patterns or any cycles you have in your life. It's not just you do it all in one day thing. Even with learning to not overwork yourself, it's a daily process. Wow, I can't believe I managed to speak this long about this particular topic. Also, I finished the drawing off screen. I wish the blue that I used was darker. I should have sharpened my color pencil and made the darker blue darker. I wanted it to look almost black-ish, but it was late at night and I just didn't feel like doing it. Anyways, let me know what you think about this particular video. Let me know how you felt about anything that I said, if you could relate to it, if you disagree with it. Also, these are just my opinions. It's okay if you disagree. Just don't leave hateful comments on the channel, on the video, or they will be deleted. But yeah, let me know what you think of the drawing, the overall video. Feel free to check out my other videos and let me know what other topics you would like to talk about. But as always, have a good day, have a good night, have a good morning. Bye.